7 questions Americans always ask me about Britain and its people. Really curious to see what these questions are going to be. It's going to be interesting to see if you guys ever wanted to ask me these questions. So yeah, really looking forward to getting into this. Before we do, we are super close to 200,000 subscribers. I appreciate absolute anyone who can hit that subscribe button. Let's just straight into this and see what we got.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to questions, specifically questions that I've received over the years from my American subscribers about the United Britain. Kingdom, Britain. As somebody who has resided in the United States for 16 years, and as somebody who talks about that fact at great length on this very channel, I in fact receive several such questions every single day. I am happy about that. This is just my general disposition.
I wonder if some of these questions I've seen in my comments quite a few times. I don't know. This is going to be interesting, bro.
And so today I wanted to do something that the last 9 years of running this channel has led up to. Revealing 7, that's 5, most common questions that I get from American subscribers about Britain. And if you yourself haven't become a subscriber of what the Quincy Gazette refers to as a content creation phenomenon, do that now. In the meantime, here are the most common questions that I receive from Americans about Britain.
Why do British...
Question I get all I receive from Americans about Britain.
Why do British people say maths? Oh, we do actually. Yeah, because in America you say math, right?
A question I get all the time is why do British people say maths instead of math? And this is one of those questions that often gets asked in reverse as well. In other words, why do Americans say math instead of math?
Right,
and if you go on any kind of internet forum, as we used to say back in the past, you'll generally speaking have Americans defend their position and Brits defend their position, and nobody see the other side's argument. But the common reason that we give as to why we pluralize it is that it is short for mathematics, which itself describes various disciplines of maths. Now, in America, mathematics is obviously seen as a singular entity, just like...
I always thought it just feels easier to say. So like maths. Like math lesson. Oh, no, never mind. Ignore me. They're both easy to say.
Like English and science.
In fact,
even
math
though
is easier.
All 3 of those subjects contain multiple disciplines. In science, you have chemistry, physics, biology. In English, you have English language and English literature and many other facets in between. Which then makes me realize that neither country is consistent. After all, nobody in Britain would say I have a degree in Englishes. On the other side of the coin, Americans might refer to sporting activities as sports to denote the fact that there is in fact more than one sport. In Britain, we don't usually have that final S, even though the argument for it being a countable noun is pretty strong. So I suppose in that regard, it's...
Wait. For sports, we do? I don't say for sport, we do. Why I say sports with an S?
Just like the rest of the English language. No one can really make up their mind what the rules are. Speaking of...
Why do British people do this when they speak? Do what?
At least once a month, I get this question. Why do Brits put an R in words that don't have one? And at first I was really confused by this question because I couldn't think of an example of what they meant until...
One of the main things that I get to do with like speaking is you guys like you always ask me when you come in my streams. You say Tuesday. Tuesday, bro.
Somebody gave me an example. In the Beatles song, A Day in the Life, John Lennon says, I saw a film today, oh boy. Now, most British people probably wouldn't find anything particularly unusual about the way it's pronounced. We don't even notice when he's singing it that he's pronouncing an R after the word saw. But to Americans, it's apparently very noticeable when British people do this. And that is, of course, because the United States is a largely rhotic-speaking country. That is, most Americans will pronounce the R in words like door. So in American English, it's very important to differentiate between those words that do have R's in them and those that don't. If it were the Beach Boys singing A Day in the Life, it would most likely go like this. I saw a film today, oh boy. They would probably sound less like Kermit the Frog. Notice when I do that, there's no R sound. So why do we do it in Britain? Well, this is known as an intrusive R, and there's an intrusive cat. That is when you have a word that ends in a vowel sound, like saw, followed by a word that begins with a vowel sound, like A. And so our brains feel compelled to stick an R in between the two words, so that the transition from one to the other feels a bit more fluid. And
wait, do I do that? I saw a film today. Oh my God, I do. What? I saw a I saw a film today. Oh my God, I do. I never realized that. I saw a film today. I say that all the time. How would you say it properly? I saw a film today. I saw a film today. Not I saw a film today. Oh my God. Wait, yo. Bro, that tripped me up.
And the best part is we don't even realize we're doing it.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize, bro. I didn't realize at all. Why did British people drink warm beer? Oh, yeah, no, I agree with this. Listen, they need to change the word beer to drinks. Like, you need ice with every drink, bro. This is why I don't like beer. Maybe that's why.
Now, of course, I get questions on a range of topics, and it's not just limited to words. One question that I get asked all the time is, do British people like warm beer? And the first time I was asked this question actually predates my YouTube channel because it was asked to me by a family member of my wife's. And I was quite puzzled by this because I've never really thought of British beer as warm. I've also never thought of it as British. Now, there will be instances, of course, when we buy, say, a 6-pack and there's no room in our fridges because they're tiny. So we leave them on a counter or a cupboard. And of course, famously, we don't have air conditioning in Britain. So beer can, in those circumstances, get as warm as the rest of the house. But when you're talking about visiting British pubs, some of which also don't have air conditioning, to my memory, the beer was often cold and refreshing. And
yeah, to be fair, it's not necessarily like it's warm, but it can be. Because, like, people that do drink beer keep it in like fridges and stuff like that, so they do like it cold. It don't like, but I feel like at the same time, I'm not a beer drinker, so I don't know. I feel like at the same time, they also wouldn't mind if it is warm, you know what I'm saying?
And usually mediocre. When it comes to temperature, I wouldn't say that I've noticed a discernible difference between beer that's served in America and beer that's served in Britain.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm not really sure where it comes from, but it is a stereotype that's labelled at the British. I'm also not a beer connoisseur, so I could just be talking out of my arse.
What's the difference between Britain, the UK, and... Oh, wait, I've been asked this quite a few times. So, Britain is... Britain is England, Wales, and Scotland. And then the UK is England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland. Right? And England is just England. Bro, if you actually look at England on the map, we are even smaller than the UK. We're tiny, bro. We are the biggest in the UK. Actually, is Scotland like bigger landmass? But I don't know.
As somebody who has in the past been accused of using the terms England, Britain and the UK interchangeably, I should probably point out that I do know the difference between the three, while conceding that it probably is quite confusing for people not from there. Yeah. Basically, Britain is one island with...
Bro, I know my stuff. I am from here. Yeah, so Britain is the island. So England, so this is England, Wales, and then Scotland.
Multiple mini islands all around it. And this consists of 3 countries that all get along in perfect harmony: Scotland, Wales and England. But the 3 of them, known collectively as Great Britain, also formed a unity with Northern Ireland. And so that became the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. So you might be asking, well, what about the rest of Ireland? We don't own them, so they're not part of this. Though technically the island that makes up Britain and the island that makes up Ireland is all part of the British Isles. It's so confusing. So I hope that abbreviated answer answers the question that you needed answers to.
I've never really thought to think how confusing the United Kingdom actually is. What actually is pudding to British people? Pudding is pudding. Pudding is like a dessert, kind of. It's like soft on the outside, warm on the inside. But you guys probably think it's confusing because we have Yorkshire pudding, which is a savory thing that I love. It's not a dessert. That is a little bit misleading.
Inevitably, when you have two countries that are in fact separated by a large ocean, a lot of the memos that get lost in the pond pertain to food. And a question that comes up all the time is, how exactly do Brits define the word pudding? I had to think about this question when I was first asked it, because I'd never really imagined that we have different definitions for this word. And then I thought about it for a few seconds and realized, well, of course we do. In America, it turns out that a pudding is a very specific type of dessert that has sort of the consistency of custard, but isn't necessarily custard. This is weird to the British, although perhaps not as weird as our own definitions, because in England and or Britain and or the United Kingdom, pudding is a synonym for dessert. So that custardy thing would also be referred to as a pudding in Britain, but then so would chocolate cake and apple pie and ice cream. And you might...
Well, I've never really referred ice cream to pudding, but yeah, we do just kind of... We would say pudding for most desserts.
I think, well, what's weird about that? It seems pretty straightforward to me. Yeah, well, we also use pudding to describe specific savoury dishes. In fact, it turns out that it was in such a vein that the word...
I feel like the word pudding, though, is like low-key dying out in the UK, because I can't remember the last time I said pudding. Like, we're talking about it now, but I just say dessert.
Pudding to describe specific savoury dishes. In fact, it turns out that it was in such a vein that the word pudding originated. From the 13th century, it originally meant a kind of sausage, the stomach or one of the entrails of a pig, sheep, etc., stuffed with mincemeat, blood and seasoning, boiled and kept till needed. This is why, to this very day, Brits and people from...
Oh, wait, that's black pudding, isn't it? Wait, yeah, why do we have pudding for different kind of things, bro? What's going on? What are we doing?
That other country, Ireland, referred to a type of blood sausage as black pudding.
Yeah,
and in the UK, this savoury definition extends beyond the context of blood sausage, because you also have Yorkshire pudding, which is similar to what Americans know.
Hey, they don't look like good Yorkshire puddings. I don't know if they're his, so I apologise. But Yorkshire puddings are so good. So good. This one was good. Don't know what's going on here. But yo, they're so good, bro.
As popovers.
Wait,
you
what?
also have Yorkshire pudding, which is similar to what Americans know as popovers.
Oh, wait, yeah, because you guys always want to know what Yorkshire pudding is. Oh, if you know what popovers is, then similar to that, apparently. Does the king actually have power? I have no clue.
And of course, I couldn't really make this video without addressing a British institution in which some Americans have a surprisingly large interest, the royal family. And perhaps the biggest question that I get around the royals is, does the king actually have any real power over his subjects?
Yeah,
subjects is their word, not mine. Because in Britain, I don't think we'd ever refer to ourselves as subjects, and certainly wouldn't view ourselves in that way. And that's largely because the king doesn't really have any power over us. He just tours the country in a robe.
What?
They no longer have much say over the affairs of Britain. That's usually done at the political level, over which King Charles has to give his nod and approval. Yes,
okay.
You can call an election right now, Rishi. Not that I was ever going to say no. Basically, a word that gets used...
Wait, but what would happen if he did say no? What would happen if he did say no and he wanted to, like, have more power? What would happen then?
Commonly about the monarch is that they are just ceremonial in nature. At this point, I think they're just there because nobody can imagine them not being there. So you've got all of those British people that do love and adore the British royal family and turn out for the parades and things like that. And then you've got people who can't stand them. And neither party wins, because this group, the group that really likes the royal family, inevitably ends up with way too many royal plate sets. And this group hasn't been able to affect the change they'd like to see, which is...
there's three groups. Or there's a group where they're just not bothered. I'm in that category. It's not that I like or dislike the royal family. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not bothered, right? They're just a family that's there, bro. It's cool, like, yeah, kings and queens is cool, but you know what I mean? I'm just not really bothered about it.
Is the complete removal of the royal family. And so in that respect, I suppose we are subjects. Not to be confused with maths.
Why do British like to hate on Americans? Okay. Not all British people like to hate on Americans. But, obviously, I've experienced seeing it, hearing it. Especially on, like years ago, playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Bro, it was just like trendy to have like a British-American war. Like in the game. Do you know what I mean? It was like 10, 12 years ago. But people would argue, and if someone was British and someone was American, man, they would go crazy at each other.
Finally, this sentiment seems to be
everywhere
like that I look
love.
online, including my DMs and comment sections, and that is, why do British people dislike Americans? And I'll tell you something, the answer to that is really complicated. Firstly, for the large part, I don't think it's even true. You have to consider that us Brits love to moan. And I mean about anything.
Yo, case solved. Case solved, bro. He's not wrong. British people do love to moan. He's not wrong.
True. You have to consider that us Brits love to moan. And I mean about anything.
He's not
It could
wrong.
be the weather. It could be our local MP, Member of Parliament. It could be that the bus timetable has changed for the 4th time this month. Now, when this happens on social media, where the mood and the motivation of the person speaking is not entirely clear, I could see how a sentence like, oh, bloody Americans calling it soccer again, might seem like it's an attack. But something else that you should keep in mind in Britain is we attack our best friends. Chainsaw Jim is not just my mate, he's an...
You know what? That is true. The example you use there, I wouldn't say someone... See, okay, that's actually interesting. So, if a British person did say, oh, I don't know why Americans call football soccer, right? Would you guys see that as like an attack on you? Because me being British, I see that as like, they're just moaning, right? It's not like they hate Americans. They're just moaning. You know what I mean? It's typical. Maybe it is just because British people love to moan, dude.
Mind in Britain is we attack our best friends. Chainsaw Jim is not just my mate, he's an arsehole. He really is an arsehole, and he's not my friend. Don't take these things personally, and Brits, do some fact-checking first. There's often a historic explanation that says the thing for which you are attacking them was in fact the original work of the British. Anyone who's been following my channel for a long time will know multiple examples, whether that is the British origination of soccer itself, or the word fall to mean autumn. If I've learned anything from this video, it's that I get a lot of questions, so...
Hey, but the Brits ain't gonna do Brits, man. The Brits love to moan and the Brits think they're right. All the time, dude.
Thanks for those.
But can I just say, not all Brits, bro. Because I feel like look at me, for example. I'm British, aren't I? Right? I don't really think I'm that much of a moaner. Yeah, I do have my moments where I do moan. But I don't think I'm that much to the extent where I'd be like British moaning or British grumpy. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know. But very interesting video. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe for more content. I'm live every single day on twitch.tv/L3WG. If you guys want to check me out over there, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.